She was already inside when I heard the metal scrape. I ran to the back and saw her half bent in my root cellar, hands deep in my crates, yelling on the phone, "Yes, I'm reclaiming HOA property right now." I didn't shout. I didn't rush her. I slowly pulled the heavy door shut and slid the steel bar into place. The lock clicked. Her voice changed fast. "Hey, open this!" "You can't do this!" I pulled my phone out and dialed 911, calm as ice. "Someone broke into my property," I said, eyes on the door as it shook. From inside, she screamed, "I'll have you arrested! I run this neighborhood!" I looked at the dirt under my boots, the land my father signed for years ago, and smiled a little. Some people really believe loud lies beat quiet truth. And she was about to learn how wrong that is. She started pounding harder, yelling names into the dark like someone would save her. "You're kidnapping me!" she screamed. I stepped back and kept the phone on speaker so everything recorded. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "Your kid was watching me. That's trespassing by a minor." I clenched my jaw but stayed quiet. I walked to the porch where my son stood frozen, clutching his toy truck. I moved him inside and locked the door. When I came back, red and blue lights flashed at the end of the road. Karen's voice suddenly changed again, sweet and shaky. "Officer, he trapped me! He attacked me!" The cellar door rattled one last time, then stopped. The officer looked at me and asked, "Sir, why is there a woman locked in your cellar?" I looked straight back and said, "Because she broke in, and she didn't know who owned this land. She didn't stop when she saw me." She froze for half a second, then smiled like she owned the place. "This cellar is HOA emergency storage," she said, wiping dirt from her hands. I didn't argue. I just raised my phone and let the camera see her face. The broken lock, the crowbar by her foot. She noticed the red light blinking and her voice changed. "Turn that off," she snapped. I didn't. She stepped closer, low and sharp. "If you post that, I'll say you attacked me." That's when my phone buzzed. The police were already on the way. Her smile came back, wider this time. "Good," she said. "I already called them, too." Then she leaned in and whispered something that made my stomach drop. "They know me." Snow started falling harder, the kind that hides footprints fast. She kicked the crowbar under the shelf and brushed dirt on her coat, breathing fast but steady. "You broke in and scared me," she practiced, like a line she'd used before. I stayed quiet and slid the cellar door shut, locking it from the outside. The click echoed. She banged once, then laughed. "You just trapped yourself," she yelled. Headlights washed over the yard. 2 cars, not one. She went silent. The first officer walked up calm. The second stayed back, eyes on the door. Karen started crying the moment the latch opened. "He locked me in," she sobbed. The officer looked at my phone, still recording, then at the lock on the inside of the door, and paused. "Ma'am," he said slowly, "this door only locks from the outside." The officer asked her to step back, but she rushed forward, pointing at me like that would change facts. "He did this on purpose," she snapped, tears gone now. I showed the screen. Timestamps, clear video, her prying the door open, her own voice saying, "No one uses this junk anymore." The second officer's radio crackled. He stepped aside, spoke low, then looked at her again. "Ma'am, dispatch says this property isn't under any HOA." Karen froze. She tried to smile. "That's wrong. I'm on the board." The officer shook his head. "County records say this land was exempt in 1974. Her face drained. She leaned close to me and whispered, "We can fix this." I didn't answer. The officer did. "Turn around." And that's when her phone started ringing. HOA president calling? Because he just saw the footage, too. Snow started falling harder as her phone kept buzzing in her hand. She didn't answer it. She couldn't. The HOA president showed up 5 minutes later. Breathless, coat half on, trying to look calm. "Karen, what did you do?" he asked. She snapped back. "He's stealing HOA property." Quietly handed him the old folder from my truck, deeds, maps, stamped letters. He flipped one page, then another, then stopped. His hand shook. "This cellar, this land, it's his. Always was." Karen laughed, sharp and fake. "That paperwork is old. I finally spoke. So is my service record. One officer looked at me. Service? I nodded. Army, 20 years. I don't bluff. The officer's tone changed. He turned to Karen. Ma'am, you filed a false report and broke into private property. Her voice cracked. I was protecting the neighborhood. The officer replied, calm and cold. No, you were protecting power you never had. They asked her to put her hands behind her back. She didn't at first. She looked around like someone would stop it, like the rules would bend for her one last time. They didn't. The cuffs clicked loud in the quiet snow. People had started coming out of their houses, phones up, whispers spreading. That's the HOA lady, someone said. She broke into his place? Another voice followed. Karen locked eyes with me, shaking now. You planned this, she hissed. I shook my head. You planned it. I just didn't stop you. As they walked her past the cellar, one officer stopped and looked at me. You did everything right, he said. You stayed calm. I watched the cruiser pull away, lights fading into the trees. My son stepped onto the porch and slipped his hand into mine. I squeezed it tight. The land was quiet again, and for the first time that night, it finally felt like hours. By morning, the truth had spread faster than the snow melted. The HOA board sent an email trying to clarify the situation, but it was too late. The county posted the arrest report online. Trespassing, breaking and entering. False report. Abuse of authority. Karen's name sat there in black and white. 2 days later, a tow truck came again, this time for her car, seized as evidence. I stood on my porch with a cup of coffee, watching quietly. No cheering, no words. She walked past me with her head down, the same woman who once said, "You don't belong here." That afternoon, a county officer came back, handed me a stamped document and said, "Your property lines are now officially protected." No HOA authority ever. I nodded. That night, I fixed the cellar door. Slow and careful, my son handing me screws like it mattered. When we finished, he asked, "Are they gone for good?" I smiled and said, "They were never in charge to begin with." The flag by the porch moved in the cold wind, steady and calm. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten anyone. I just stood my ground, and that was enough. I didn't win by fighting. I won by knowing this land was already mine.